Is everybody ready already?
I'm ready.
Hell yes. Let's do this.
Let's hit it. Hello, and welcome to our humble little podcast. This is Atlantis After Dark, the greatest place in all of cyberspace. Here's a little known fact. The vagina has over 8,000 nerve endings, but is still not nearly as sensitive as the DC Legend subreddit. I'll tell you guys what, I'm ready to go already, and I think you guys are too, so let's not waste a whole lot more time today. Let's get right into it and meet today's All-Stars. Up first, he's the gangster of ganja. Friday, he came home late from work and told his wife that he was so stressed only a blowjob could help calm him down. She said, well, where are you going to find a dick to suck at this hour? It's Sekju. Welcome, sir.
Well, why, hello.
How was it?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Oh, golly. Glad to have you aboard, buddy.
Yep,
Everybody.
Thanks for having me as always.
Hey, no problem. Everybody knows this next All-Star. His whole family is really worried about their grandpa's Viagra addiction. His grandma is taking it particularly hard. It's Tootytron. Welcome to the show, Val.
Hello. No shade to my grandparents. I'm sure they don't make me fuck anymore. That's fine.
Well, these are facts I didn't want to know today, but thank you very much for enlightening us all.
You're welcome.
And I will lay off your grandparents in the future.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, my God. Sacred ground, right?
Sacred ground.
There we go. Well, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you, pal.
Thank you.
And last but not least, from the hidden isle of Themyscira, yesterday she went to the laundromat and old man John, who runs the place, is half deaf. He can't hear very good. When she walks in, old man John says, "Hey, what can I do for you today?" She said, "I need to get my dress cleaned." John said, "Come again?" She said, "No, it's just a little icing." It's Witty Amazon.
Oh, no.
What's happening out there on Paradise Island?
Oh, my God.
Brutal.
Oh my god, that was really good.
That's really good.
Oh, man. I do try.
I'd say it was the best out of the three.
Oh,
I think
so
so.
yours
Yeah,
is the best out of the three. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I will take it. Well, welcome one and all. And gosh, I'd say we have a lot to cover today. Just FYI, we are going to be covering a Black Adam review, and we can't guarantee that it won't have spoilers. That'll be at the very end of the show, and we'll be able to tell you guys right exactly when that's going to be. So you can duck out if you don't want to hear anything that happened in the movie. Having said that, let's get into it. Let's get into some DCL. All right, gang. I want to talk about a couple of things with you guys today because I know we have some people here in the panel who have him. Let's talk a little bit about Trigon. I've been seeing things across both Reddit and on the Discord channels that he's kind of a beast a little bit, but I'm not sure he doesn't have his shortcomings. I want to get your thoughts on it really quick. Sekju, I know you have him unlocked. I think you had him L4 gear level 80, I think, or level 80.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where I have him now. Once his shop offer went active, I went nuts on his packs to get him to that point. Well, not nuts by some people's standards, obviously,
Right.
since there's RB4s out there already.
Right.
But by my standards, went nuts on him to get him to a point where I could use him at least until Siege is ended. And he's a great tune. He's
Right.
very powerful. He can definitely force a match in your direction, and he can take over a match once he starts going. But I have noticed using him on offense, he does actually suffer from some of the faults of some other blues. If you pick the wrong person to open against, or you use him against the wrong team, I've had Azrael wreck mine, even though I can't kill a Trigon with my Azrael, and I've had some other Reds take him out unexpectedly. So yeah, he is one of those very powerful characters. He can do a lot. He can seriously debuff the enemy team so quickly, but if you take him against the wrong people, you're going to find out that he's not invincible.
Right. And I was going to ask that question. What are the Reds specifically? Do you remember, or was it just kind of random?
Well, I know specifically against a combination of HQMJ and Azrael under a Hal Jordan lead. It looked like a bot team to me, but I guess somebody actually might have planned it, or I just played it stupid. But he ended up dying real early, and I was caught off guard because I even thought that he had his damage immunity at the time. And I think what happened is like Azrael did a counter, purged his damage immunity, and then like Harley Quinn like smashed him or something. I don't know. I mean, obviously everyone has a really high level HQMJ at this point, or most people do that use her because she was around and available for so often. So I can't even remember the rebirth level it was. I think either a 3 or higher. And he just got taken out. And it really surprised me because I was even running him under an Aquaman lead and thought that extra durability with the crit immunity would keep him alive and kicking. And it just didn't work out that time. So other times he just demolishes the enemy team. So again, I guess it kind of depends on a little bit on RNG. As you know, with the computer, whenever you watch the AI play, they always seem to get that 50% on the positive side. As the player, you know, he processes a lot, but I would say not as often, obviously, as for the AI. So I feel like on defense, he's just much more difficult to deal with than he is beneficial to use on offense, even though he is still great on offense.
It's like 100% on the AI.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 100% for the AI, but for you, it's like 25%.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's not being fair because it does really process a lot when you use him on offense too, I will say.
Yeah.
But that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, and we'll talk about RNG a little bit later, but
it's part of the game.
Yeah. Yes,
we
it is.
We know to expect it, but I would say, for the first time in 2 years that I've been playing, this was the first time that I've lost an what's the name of the mode, the Phantom Stranger event.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost the first node because I always auto that shit. I mean, just pick Fortunes and put it on auto. But when I got to Trigon, it's no dice. I lost like 2 times.
The Phantom Stranger or the Nightmare Challenge? Which one?
No, the Phantom Stranger event. You get Trigon at the last node. I have never lost one of those matches ever. It's like press play and let it go. And
same thing happened to me, Witty.
Trigon did that for me, and Azrael doesn't cut it. He absolutely doesn't.
Wow, that's impressive.
So yeah, I'd say it's absolutely a great tune.
Mine is L4, and I am kind of on the line right now on because he's clearly got like a stronger kit than most of the characters in the game, right? And there has been some backroom talks about nerfing him, and not in like a bad way, just like everything that he currently does, he'll still do. He'll just do less of it, and that's what the push was for, because he just absolutely smothers everyone in debuffs, and it's essentially putting a timer on the fight, you know. And even if you do kill Trigon, everything that he leaves behind is still potentially going to kill you. And whatchamacallit, so he is it's possible to deal with him. That is accurate. His damage immunity does keep him alive a lot longer than would otherwise. So if you can purge that, he's still a special tank though, so it's going to take a few hits probably to kill him, especially since he can heal himself and gain a bunch of mends. And not only that, but he steals everyone's buffs. Like, because he's a special tank, it doesn't matter if he steals a taunt at all, because he can take the hits, especially since he's also stealing your stamina ups, your damage immunities, your death immunities, your awarenesses, your evasions. Like, he can steal buffs from like Cassie Kane. Even if it misses, he'll still get 6 evasion ups, you know. With Harley Quinn, I think it might be slightly bugged because he's stealing the buffs, but if he misses, then the character doesn't lose any buffs, if that makes sense. So like if Harley has 6 evasion ups and you steal her buffs, but the attack theoretically misses, she keeps all of her buffs and you just gain 6 evasion ups. So he's gaining the buffs no matter what, whether or not he misses. He's always going to have a huge defensive capability because of that. And whatchamacallit, all you have to do really, if you want to win, is just distract from Trigon. Like, make sure that no one can hit him. Put your other taunters out there, make him invisible. I don't care. Whatever you need to do to keep him alive. And he's going to win the fight for you. It doesn't matter if Tara's on the other team or Hal Jordan, because he will just take away everyone's debuff immunity and then throw on like 9 diseases. So you really have to kill him first. And that is why like the nerf talk exists. Although I still don't think that he is as good as Spectre is. I still think that Spectre is the top tier character in the game as far as damage, survivability, utility, all of that. He's top tier. It's really hard to get rid of that. Trigon is just underneath of him though, I think, and that's why we were worried. You know, it's like, okay, is this going to be a long-term issue? Are we going to spend the next year of DC Legends getting like half-ass counters for Trigon like we did with Spectre over and over again? And if that's the case, maybe we should just take the initiative and, you know, reduce the amount of disease he sends out, reduce the amount of buffs that he can send back and forth, all that stuff. And that was kind of our thoughts. But yes, he is an absolute powerhouse. And he's the reason why I've won so many fights. You just have to stick him on your team and you'll win, basically.
Wow, pretty plug and play.
I don't know, because that hasn't been my experience. I've stuck him on my teams and I've still lost. So I don't know. like you said, if you protect him adequately, so maybe I'm not using the right taunters or not hiding him behind invisibility enough, but you know, we talk about S tier characters, how you can literally drop them into any lineup and they make it better no matter what. And I've tried that and it hasn't worked every time. So
which one? How high is yours again?
L4 80 G11 4 rings.
That's so strange because mine at L2 was just dominating all of my matches.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good in Siege. Again, I'm just talking about like Wraith when I'm experimenting with some stuff and I'm not like worried to lose. I've just been dropping into some random comps and mostly, like you said, he's been great. I'm not trying to put Trigon down. This sounds like I'm saying he's less than awesome because he is amazing and he's on a level, like, again, like you said, just below Spectre. But I think what I was thinking of is he better than Spectre? And that's why I don't think he is because Spectre, you could literally drop into any lineup, any team, and
right.
He is going to make that team better. It doesn't matter who's on that team. Trigon, I don't think is as flexible as Spectre because, like you said, I think he needs to be covered for a turn or two so he can get going. He needs that taunter, whereas Spectre almost doesn't. Right. You know, the only thing he's really susceptible to when he doesn't have the taunter is the whole Cheetah Shiva or Red Hood Shiva combination. So
right, yeah, there are clearly differences between the two. There's no argument that Spectre's better. Like he is definitively better than Trigon. To this day, I don't know if WB can even create a kit that could be better than Spectre. But this is like really close, you know.
Yeah.
So I still think that it's like, because I threw, and I'm pretty much known as the nerf guy, but at this point for good reason. Like I went for Azrael, who Azrael is still technically not as good as Spectre. I went for Spectre. I don't know if I really went for anybody else, actually. I think it was just those two, because I went on a campaign to buff Jace, actually. But then we got Aquaman, so it didn't matter anyway. So, but yeah, I don't know. Trigon he's a threat, that's for sure. And you need to take him out early. There are ways to counter him without bringing like a powerhouse red. Like Poison does a good job against him. Ursa does a good job against him. But then you have like characters like Poison Ivy and Ultraman who could just throw all of the debuffs back and make Trigon actually your like weakness on your team a little bit. So you have to be careful if you find an Ivy Ultraman combination or even Enchantress to a degree. I do think that bringing characters like Enchantress and Superman against Trigon is actually a bad idea, because he will just
all those good buffs. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
he'll steal all of the positive
immunity.
immunities and just wreck your team because of it. So yeah, there's definitely a threat there if you bring Enchantress or Superman against him.
I mostly use Condor or Trigon. They work well against him, because high damage is the way to go. At least for me it was, because if you use characters like Ezreal, it'll keep stealing from him and putting on that disease, and even if he's gone, your characters will die in the next round or two. So
I like that you mentioned Connor, because I think the biggest thing that makes Trigon not as good as Spectre is the fact that you can stun him. You can't necessarily stun Spectre, and that's always been an issue. And with Trigon, it's if he's stunned, he's stunned. He won't be stealing your buffs. He might still be sending out diseases. I'm not entirely sure how that one works, but
I
he's
think
not.
he does.
He does.
He's not actively like stealing all your buffs and throwing debuffs back at you when he's stunned, and that's huge because that gives you an opportunity to actually kill him.
Have you noticed if his passive call assist seems to be processing when he's stunned? Because I feel like that is too.
Well, it probably is because
Okay.
yeah, it's a weird
I haven't
passive,
checked.
but yeah, it should be. If his disease is spreading, his call assist.
Yeah,
should
the
be as
disease
well.
is spreading. That I've noticed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned Ivy and Ultraman though, because that was actually how I countered the first Trigon I ran into, which was M4s. Thank you, M4. But that was actually the first time I was able to beat one, and it actually went really easily and smoothly. And I was like, "Oh, Trigon's nothing. That was easy." And then the first time I ran into him in Siege, it was like, "Oh shit, that's not the case. Trigon is not easy."
If you don't bring those two, yeah, then
Yeah,
all
when
those
you're
debuffs
trying
will
to
just
use
melt
bonus
you.
tunes in Siege, you're like, "Fuck me, that's not going to work."
No, not at all. Not even slightly. But they did a really good job on character design. I really am actually, because they had the art for his portrait done like a year and a half ago when they introduced him to raids. They just copied that picture and made it his portrait, and it's still an amazing picture. So I'm actually quite happy about it. The guy looks sick. Like for Halloween, we got a demon, and I'm like, yes, all of the above, love it.
Mhm.
He does look good. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, very, very good.
Here's something that didn't look good to the larger DC community. Let's talk about the Nightmare Challenge a little bit. There was some problems from what I gather in more ways than one.
For the first like 18 hours, they weren't giving out rewards.
Right.
And I was already at work anyway, so I couldn't even like do it. And I was like, okay, I'll just wait until they fix it, because they will fix it. I know they will, or they'll just send us all the rewards anyway. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Sure.
Like, I don't know why, like you said, I'm kind of glad Biff isn't here, because I know he would go on a fucking tangent, especially after your vagina joke at the beginning. But it's like,
joke.
yeah, it's like, okay, we all know what to expect. Like WB is either going to fix it or they're going to send it all in the mail. Like,
Right.
Calm down.
Yeah.
And if they send it in the mail, that means I don't have to work for it.
Yeah, that was my feeling exactly. People just go nuts over it. I mean, just take a chill pill, relax. You'll be able to do this in a few hours, and that's what happened. So I don't know what they expect at this point.
Well, and I think the other side. Go ahead, buddy.
Oh, just people like to complain. You know, it's something. It's one more thing they complain about, because it's like, okay, well, we had all these other bugs. Here's one more thing, so I have another reason to complain. It's people just like to whine. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, more or less.
Sadly.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, AB?
I can't remember.
Ah, shit! I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I have short-term memory loss.
I did.
Maybe it was something about the RNG nature. You brought up that we were going to talk about RNG before. I don't know.
Oh yeah, well we did, didn't we? Oh, that's right. I was going to say the other side of the coin on that was that by the time you actually got into the Nightmare Challenge and then started doing it, from what I gather, the last node was a bit of an RNG fest.
Yes, it was. I mean, once I had the right team, I swam through it.
Right.
And it was really easy. I think I used Lex, Spectre, Connor, and I can't remember. No, it was Question. I think I used those four, and I just kept everyone stunned all the time. And eventually Connor and Spectre did enough damage that they would just destroy everyone. So it was easier said than
done.
like,
yeah.
I did lose like 8 times before I found that team. That's true. But that once I put that team out, it was like easy as fuck.
That's a lot of gems.
It is. It was a lot of it. It was like isn't that 65 energy for the last node? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or 60 or something. It's expensive.
It's expensive, but I mean the rewards are worth it. So I'm not gonna like sit on that,
Right, 3 rebirth tokens are not easy to come by.
Right. Exactly.
It begs the
I'm
question.
prepped for next month's sales because of it. I'm gonna RB5 Mongol hopefully.
Oh, nice.
And that'll be fun. So I've got my 30 rebirth tokens sitting, and I've got them RB2 already. So
I just burned. I had 40 rebirth tokens. I just burned them all this week. So,
oh Jesus!
but Trigon is now RB5. So I sent you the notification for the list.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So,
But yeah, I would agree with the RNG fest, and you know what the problem was, right, AB?
what was that?
Nobody has Lucky in this game to help them get through it, to help them
Oh,
conquer the
Lucky.
RNG. God damn it. I'm so sick of those fucking ads. Like,
Oh.
fucking Tapjoy ads. As usual, it's a 3X weekend, so everybody's grinding Tapjoy
Yeah.
offers. And, there's a million State of Survival ads. And you know what pisses me off, AB?
What's that?
No one ever talks about fucking Sarge. Sarge is like the main
Oh.
guy you start with if you have to play that goddamn game, and he is your security blanket. Like, fuck Lucky. Sarge is where it's at. So, I don't know. Respect for Sarge. Throw him in the ads, you bastards.
I'm not even annoyed at those ads because they're just so absurd and hilarious. Like
They're terrible.
they're like 2 girls sitting on a couch and 4 guys walk in with the bunny maid suits on. And it's like it turns into a sexual fantasy, but they're just talking about this fucking video game.
Right.
And it's like I don't understand.
Or,
but I
or
love
like
it.
there's like a bunch of them partying, like it's like a bunch of people in cop outfits, and they're like, "Hey, lady, your guy just wanted to learn about my Lucky." Like it's like this angry bride marching in.
Right.
This is like the most fucked up,
Right.
crazy scenarios you've ever seen.
I think they take pride in them. Like they know how ridiculous they are.
Oh, they have to.
Right. Ugh. It's better than those they had those other ads a while back where they would just show like women walking with their ass jiggling, or like
Yes.
the girl with the sniper on the rooftop, and it would like show her shoot the gun in
Oh,
like
yeah.
slow-mo and then watch the the vibration go down to her ass cheeks, and then they jiggle a little bit. Like
Oh, yeah.
that was what the old ads were. And I think these are a bit more classy.
Yeah,
despite the
a little
fact.
bit, a little bit.
Yeah, it's like going from
But
a,
that's what you guys need to beat the Nightmare Challenge. Clearly, you need Lucky.
right,
Clearly.
Becca.
Oh, we needed
Naomi.
the jiggly, yes.
Yeah.
So I recently discovered actually with Tapjoy, I got a new phone. My
You got a new
my old
phone through
was
Tapjoy?
whatever. What now?
You got a new phone through Tapjoy?
No.
Oh,
I got a
okay.
new phone just because my old phone
Okay.
was paid off, and then I got a text from Verizon that was like, "Hey, by the way, if you trade in your old phone, you can get $700 off this new phone." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, that sounds great." So I got a new phone, and all of my Tapjoy stuff is like refreshed. Like I have done the Grand Mafia thing like 3 times on my old phone, and it wouldn't let me do it anymore on
Oh.
that phone.
Hey,
And now
hey Tootie, you want to have your mind blown?
what?
You have a tablet you can install the game on?
No.
Oh, if you any device that you install your DC Legends account on
See,
will refresh those offers.
I didn't know that, and I was so happy because this Grand Mafia one is worth like 900,000 gems, and I was like, oh. So I'm trying to finish it. It's gonna be expensive because you have to get like all the enforcers to like gold status, and that costs like $200 per person.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's gonna be possible, but we're gonna try our fucking hardest. Maybe we get 600,000 gems instead, but that's still a win in my book.
That's
Absolutely.
that's how I do it too. I'll take whatever offer I can, even if I only get 50,000 gems. If I get there for free, I don't care.
Right.
That's hardcore.
Waiting for the Raid Shadow Legends ones to show back up, because that one you can win. You can get 400,000 gems for that one for like $60.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's
oh my
the
God.
universally best offer.
Yes, I can't wait. Especially since Olay doesn't happen for Android anymore.
Oh, that's right. You guys don't get the Olay deals anymore, huh?
No, we don't. So I have
Wow.
to play the games every time and put work in and money in. And,
They don't want us to have silky smooth skin.
Right. I was just gonna say.
I got rid of all mine actually. I had a whole shelf full of it, and I was very happy because I went on Facebook Marketplace and I said, I put up the whole inventory and I said $5 per item, go. And it was all gone within like 2 weeks.
Right. Wow.
I had a lot of middle-aged ladies come up to my door. But we got rid of it and we made some money back. Not all of it, but a good chunk of it.
Right. Right. Well, and I was gonna raise this up because you guys brought up a point earlier, and this is maybe the last bit that we'll touch on here in a bit. But what is a rebirth crystal worth? We often talk about it in kind of unequal terms, right? Because how much did it cost you to get those 3 rebirth crystals during this nightmare challenge? Do you know what I mean? Like, did it cost you, this much versus this much? And if you look at the value of what they sell at the beginning of the month, they have those $19.99, buy 1 crystal, you can only get 5 of them. That's $100 for 5 crystals.
Yes, but I would say the value of it is a little bit less than the 20 because it always comes with character fragments and legendary essence as well. So I would say they're worth probably $10 to $15. But at the same time, I only ever buy those packs for the rebirth token. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, well, same here.
Shards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody gives a fuck about the shards.
Right. So, I mean, unless it's like a character that I always wanted.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, that never happens for me. Like,
I mean, that's just a happy coincidence.
But they have like this new deal, like they had with a pack with Dr. Poison and 3 RB crystals, 7.2k gems. I think
if you bought all of those, it was like 100,000 gems. I think I went from like 500,000 to like 400,000. And that was really expensive. Like, I don't know if I would do that again.
And that was 22 RB crystals though, wasn't it?
It was a lot. I don't know if it was. I think 22 sounds.
It was 3, 4, and then 3 of 5. I didn't buy them all, but I got up to the point where it was 27k packs.
Right.
And I think I read somebody say that you get 3 of the 27k packs. So it was around 100,000 gems, but I think the total count was 22 rebirth crystals. So if you break that down, you can basically assign a value to rebirth crystals.
Well, the 100.
Well, you gotta consider the shards too, though. Yeah.
They sell the gems in like $25,000 or 25,000 chunks, and those are generally $100.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy them naked, which means that you're only buying the gems, you're not buying any character fragments or anything like that, because every like Thursday or Friday, depending on where you are,
you have the 250 or the 90 shard deal. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And those the 250 shard deal is worth $100. So you're getting a massive discount on the gems because you're also getting character fragments at the same time. Even though it costs you the same amount of money, you're getting a lot more for it. So if you buy the gems naked without those character fragments, they're still $100, right?
Yeah.
So theoretically, it's like $300 to $400 worth of gems for that 100,000, unless of course you're a Tapjoy maniac like I am, because then it'll be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, but then you also have to factor in all the Dr. Poison shards you got and the legendary essence that came with those packs too, to try and figure out what you want to value the rebirth tokens at. But I guess my answer to the question at large, I think, is kind of philosophical. Like, it depends on where you are in the game. Like, if you're somebody that's not placing an emphasis on rebirth tokens, and Whitty, I think you can speak to this a little bit because I believe you have a fairly decent supply of rebirth tokens you're sitting on
170.
Yeah,
good
exactly.
God.
Oh my God.
So for you, a rebirth token probably has less value overall because you have other objectives right now.
I mean, I didn't go crazy over that deal. I mean, if it was a different character that I wanted to take it on a high rebirth, I would have absolutely gone for it. I mean, I would buy all the packs.
Yeah.
But the reason that I also haven't used all my rebirth crystals is because I'm saving them for specific characters, and when I have those deals, I'm gonna bring them up slowly. So I'm gonna use them all. Don't get mistaken. But I mean, I had bought a few packs on that Wonder Woman's Day. I bought a few packs of Dr. Poison, so I was a bit covered on that front. So if it had been like Superman and that deal, I would have taken them all. I mean, it depends on the character you have in those packs.
Woody, who are you saving up for?
I mean, my Amazons. I want to bring them higher up.
You got them all RB1 now, right?
No, 2 of them are
Hippolyta's
RB3. I think
RB3.
3
Yeah.
of them are RB2, and I think at least 4 of them are almost RB3 at this point.
Well,
Are-
isn't I
are
thought your
any of
Hippolyta
them-
was RB3.
Hippolyta and Coda, yeah,
Yeah.
right now.
Are
I'm a
any
big
of them
fan of those.
only L5?
No,
They're all RB1 or higher.
at least, yeah.
Okay, well that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
You have your whole Amazonian thing. I had the Shazam thing going for a while. So I'm happy that you have the Amazons.
I need to live up to my name.
There you go. I dig it.
The Amazon part or the witty part?
Both. Both.
Oh boy. Oh well. On that note, I think it's time we get into a little bit of a Black Adam review, and this is the part of the show where you'll want to stop if you are so inclined to not want to be spoiled, because I can't guarantee that we're not going to talk about it. So, last warning: this is your cancellation button. Now, for real. Now, stop. What are you doing here? Stop. Okay, you're gone. Everybody's gone now. We can talk about Black Adam. I went to see this yesterday. Sekju, you saw this last night. Witty, did you see this a couple of days ago? You saw it when it first opened, didn't
Friday.
you? Friday night?
No, it was all booked. I had to go on Friday.
Okay. And Tootie, did you see it opening night?
I did.
You did. All right. You're the champion of all things movie then.
And long live the champion.
And
I
long
say
live
he
the
goes
champion.
first since he saw it.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Like let's go in circular order there. So, Tootie, I want to get your overall general thoughts on the movie, and then we'll go into some details on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So visually stunning.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got all the special effects done right, which was really good. The Rock himself, I was afraid that The Rock would make it a Rock movie. And
Yeah. Okay.
I think that he succeeded in making it more of a DC film than a Rock movie, and I was actually pretty happy about that. So positives are good. The end credit scene, I won't actually spoil that for anybody. I don't want anyone to know what that is. Unless I guess we can discuss that maybe.
Sure.
But it was good end credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the build up. I really liked the side characters. My complaints are that they opened a lot of doors that they just never walked through. Like they left a lot of things unspoken or untouched, even though they kind of hinted at it. And I was kind of just like, well, just walk through it. Like, give me a little bit more of that. Like Atom Smasher and Cyclone were fucking showstoppers. I absolutely loved both of them. Obviously they tried to make Atom Smasher kind of like a Deadpool, Spider-Man, comedic humor relief character, and even like the facial expressions in the mask was like, okay, that's fucking Deadpool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I really enjoyed Noah Centineo. I think that he did a really good job. Cyclone is just gorgeous. And they still hinted at like the Wizard of Oz theme a little bit. And so I really enjoyed that aspect. With Dr. Fate, I was a little upset because, we all expected a lot from Pierce Brosnan or whatever his last name is, because he's a great actor. He does a lot of great things. I did think that his Fate performance was underwhelming. Like the scene where and this is a spoiler, so the scene where he wakes Black Adam up from his cell was just cringy as fuck to me. It didn't feel heroic. It didn't feel good. It felt really cringy. And I was like, this is not Pierce's best. Although I know a lot of people, like especially Retmus, was kind of upset at the Fate helmet for not having like eye holes. And I get that. I genuinely thought the suit looked good. Like the Fate character costume looked really good, I thought. And the special effects on Fate, fucking gorgeous. Very stunning. There might be some people that complain because he did the whole like Egyptian symbol thing, and then like what's it called with the circle on top and the half cross.
Ankh.
The Ankh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Ankh.
Yeah, the Ankh. He like summoned it and threw it down on people like 3 times, but you didn't really know what shape it was until like the 3rd time that he did it. Because at the end, when he threw it down on Sabak, you could actually physically see the shape of it.
Yeah.
Right, but you couldn't see the shape of it before.
Yeah, the first time he used it, it looked like a dagger.
Yeah, exactly.
It looked like a dagger.
Right. So with Fate, there's some pluses and minuses there. I think they kind of toned down his power a little bit, and they also like with the Fate clones that he made of himself, they really
Right.
kind of did an homage to Doctor Strange a little bit there. But overall, I didn't dislike the movie. I think it was good, not great, just because they introduced these side characters like Cyclone and Atom Smasher, but like they might never appear again, Black Adam got the brunt of the story development, which is fair because it's his movie. But when you introduce characters like that and they're just there for visual effects purposes, because that's all it felt like they did with Cyclone and with Atom Smasher. They were there for visual effects and comedic relief. It obviously felt like they were falling in love, but we never got to see them fuck, and I was upset about that.
Do people fuck in DC comic movies? I don't know.
I know.
Well, they are darker than Marvel. Who knows? Maybe we
didn't even get a kiss out of it. I was like, what the fuck is this?
We did have a comic where they show us Batman's penis, so
Right.
Did we?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
And then it got
my
retconned
God.
like immediately.
Yeah, they shaded it differently.
God.
They're like, bye-bye, Bruce's Becker.
Right. It was too small, so they had to like, okay, no, bye.
Disrespect to the bat.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. But those are my main thoughts. I'll let everybody else expand.
All right. Witty, your turn. Let's hear what you thought about it. Let's
I mean, for me, it was a solid movie. Nothing perfect by any means. I don't think I've seen a movie that I would call it perfect, but it was pretty good. I mean, you get what you pay for, It's entertaining, it's action-packed. The visual effects were amazing. I think it's one of the first movies I can say that the CGI wasn't an issue for me from beginning to end. Visually, it was very good. I mean, the characters, most people you see talking on the internet will say that Dr. Fate was the best character there. For me, it was surely one of the plus, but I would say as a combo with Hawkman, I think the duo really is the heart of the movie. You can see that they really worked as a team. And speaking of the team per se, I think having Atom Smasher and Cyclone there was the minus. I think, unlike Sudi, for me, Atom Smasher didn't work at all. And he's the one character that I would take out of there, because if you take him out of the equation and if you see the movie again, he didn't do anything relevant that would add to the plot or the ending of the movie. He didn't do anything there. And he wasn't even funny. So not even for comic relief, because Fate was funnier than him.
Yeah.
So I would completely take him out of the movie. He didn't do anything. At least for Cyclone, she knew how to behave. She was smart. She was kind of funny. The visual effects were great. She had a lot more colorful to a lot more color to the movie. Different kind of powers. She has a different set of powers, so she has something in that aspect. But Atom Smasher is a no for me. And also, as Waller is talking to Hawkman, telling what the mission is, and showing a bit of Black Adam and what his powers are. So he gets his buddy like Dr. Fate, and then he picks 2 interns to go deal with it. So that was a big issue for me. It was like olive oil and water. Those 2 didn't mix. You had a great part of the team, like with the Hawkman and Dr. Fate, and then the 2 interns really screwed it up. Mostly Adam for me. I mean, he was the biggest issue I had with that movie. Everything else, I think it worked fine. It wasn't boring. It didn't take much time to connect everything together. I think you always need a big bad wolf to fight in the end, and I think they really did a good job with Sabak, setting him up from the very first scene in the movie, and then the CGI was great. He had purpose, and he was connected to the story throughout everything. And at some point, Dr. Fate is looking at the what's her name, Adriana? It's Adriana, isn't it?
Mhm.
He's looking at her bag and saying, "Yo, you have the crowd there." And Hawkman says, "We don't have time for that." The poor bastard didn't know that he already had a vision, and that was the end game. You know, that was the guy they were there to fight, and not Black Adam. And that shows that everything is connected, and they've put some work into it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. Solid.
Nice.
That's a good score.
That's a good score. Sekju.
I like the movie. As Woody will attest to, I am famously easy to please when it comes to movies and entertainment in all things with Marvel, DC, and otherwise. But I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was a very fast-paced, like good action movie that started quick, stayed quick. There was lots of action sequences. There was some good banter between the characters. Like Tootie was saying earlier, a lot of the side characters. I happen to like the brother of the I can't remember
he was great.
names, but yeah, he was just funny. He didn't have tons to do, but the little bits that he had were good. And whenever he shows up at the end and he's like, "I die by electricity," and he just starts going
Oh my
nuts.
god, it was so
And he had all the courage.
when he was shot and Dr. Fate shows up.
Yeah.
How bad is it, Doctor?
Yeah,
Check me out.
exactly. I'm not that kind of doctor. Yeah, exactly. Like he worked the parts that he had really well. So I appreciated the side characters. I liked Amon. I'm not usually a big fan of the kids in movies because I feel like none of them are really great actors, but I thought that he did good. And I can see him in the future role potentially being granted, Shazam's powers, essentially, because that was a storyline that happened, I think, that I remember from the comics. But anyway, I really liked it. I thought it was good. I do see some of the criticisms that have been lobbied against it. I agree with Tootie that The Rock did not make it a Rock movie. It was legit a DC movie starring The Rock in it, and he didn't do like any of his traditional Rock stuff. And I don't know, there were just some really quirky parts in it that I loved, even though I think that some people might have thought they're a little cheesy, like when he just wrecks the army to Painted Black. Like, I love that. I thought that was great. That was so much fun. And, you can compare it to all the insane over slow motion stuff that Zack Snyder does in his work. But I thought it was perfect how they did everything in slow motion, then it all sped up and all happened at once. And it really showed you how truly powerful he was in terms of his perception of like all the things happening around him, responding to them in super speed and just destroying that force. Like, it gave you a sense of feeling over the depth of power that Black Adam had versus his adversaries. And like when he was just chucking people, and like you just grab people and just throw them, and wherever they land, that just shows how dismissive he was of anyone that was his enemy. And he made that clear in the way he spoke to the main characters and the way that he approached the whole philosophy of everything he was doing in the movie. So I just enjoyed it because it was hyper violent, but it wasn't over the top. Even the parts that were super violent weren't so violent that you were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm watching this," or "Oh, he just brutally killed that guy," but you knew some people got brutally murdered in some crazy and creative ways. So I really enjoyed it. My biggest concern was with the CGI on Sabak. I thought that it was going to be something that like, oh, here comes a hokey CGI fest villain, but I thought they handled it really well. I thought the CGI looked great in that fight in the end. Especially like this is going to sound weirdly specific, but the CGI on the moments when they were bursting with power uncontrollably, like when Black Adam would like lose control and have those enormous explosions of power. Same thing with Sabak when he was doing like his pillar of fire and all that stuff. That CGI was really impressive, and I really think that was a beautiful component of the movie is how well that was done. But my only thing I didn't like was how much Dr. Fate was nerfed in terms of power, because Dr. Fate would not be like, oh, I can't handle Sabak. Like, you just lock him in the Tower of Fate. So it's
Yeah.
like, you can't have him take over the movie and you can't have him be that powerful, but there was no reason to have what happened to him in the end be what happened. And I don't
Yeah.
know are we going to talk full spoilers? I don't know if we want to even say that, so you can go see the movie and have some surprises, but I just feel like
It
Dr.
wasn't
Fate,
necessary.
yes,
Yeah.
it was an unnecessary thing that happened, and I don't understand why they did it, unless their plan is to move forward with a new character or a new actor in that role just because of Pierce Brosnan's age. So
Yeah. Yeah. And well, that begs the question, why cast him in the first place, right?
right.
But I mean, we could sit here and talk what if all day.
Well, I mean, they did talk about, this is the Justice Society, which Hawkman and Fate were both a massive part of,
Yeah.
Kent especially. So they probably did want to give Kent an homage before they because the helmet disappeared at the end, probably off to go find its next wearer.
Yeah.
And, who knows, maybe we'll see Zataro in the Zatanna movie come in and take the helmet. But I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that movie had. I really like what Whitty said about Hawkeye kind of being the heart of it, because he did have Hawk. I say Hawkeye.
He's a true
because
soldier.
really,
Hawk guy.
Yeah.
I know Hawkman. I think he played the part perfectly, because
Yeah.
Hawkman is kind of like an angry persona, and like you see it in Blackest Night, where he becomes like a Red Lantern before he gets killed, or like he has the potential to be a Red Lantern kind of thing. And they kind of made him like a high and mighty but really, really flawed hero. Like, he was like, you will be a hero or I will lock your ass up for the rest of eternity. And that, that's not very heroic of you, and he was a very on his high horse the entire time, and it felt right for the character. And he was a pretty badass Hawkman, other than the helmet looking like fucking crazy stupid.
I like that.
Everything else on his costume looked great.
Oh, those wings were amazing.
Yeah, when the wings popped out,
Oh.
it was awesome.
Yeah, they were.
I did really love Adriana and Amon as well. I thought the actual non-superhero cast was fucking incredible. I thought that the part at the end where the village people fight the hellish army, I was like, this is fucking stupid.
The most weak undead army ever.
Right. They were
Yeah.
not even combatants at that
They're beating them with crowbars and stuff.
They were half awake zombies. They didn't even put up a fight. So at that point, I thought the Amon acting was a little less great because he was trying to be a hero or whatever, and it was bad. But the beginning and middle of the movie for him was great. And then what else was Sabak. So I think that DC Legends didn't give us Sabak because Trigon and Sabak look almost fucking identical. If they gave us two demons in the same month and they were both Sabak, and if this Sabak was the one that they based their character model on, then he and Trigon would be almost identical. The only real thing that you could see a difference in would be the upside down star on the chest, and Trigon has 6 eyes.
Yeah, the multiple eyes thing.
That would be the only real difference between the two, and that's probably why they didn't give us Sabak in the first place.
Yeah,
I was sitting
model
here
built.
waiting for Sabak. I was like, "Fuck yeah, give me a demon Shazam! That would be so cool." And it never came, and I was so sad. But obviously, we have Trigon, so that's fine.
Still got a demon at least.
Yeah, still got a demon. That's fine. I'll take it. AB, what did you think of the movie?
Oh gosh. I think I would have to agree with a lot of the same sentiments that are put out that you guys did. For me, it's always about the story they tell. And either a story is good or a story is bad. And I thought that this story was good. Did they execute it well? In many, many places, absolutely they did. I love the opening scene and the way they kind of subvert your expectations a little bit throughout the rest of the film. Because if you know anything about the I guess the legendary or the old school origin stories of Black Adam, you'll know, mostly what the movie is about until the very end, and it hits you, and you realize, oh crap, this is what's really been going down the whole time. It's kind of a fun little trip if you let them take you on it. Other parts of the film that stood out really for me, of course, Sekju said, the paint it black scene, which was just fucking incredible to me. Just how much destruction can a guy do? Well, you find out. You watch that scene. I disagree that Adam Smasher was a good character in that film. I didn't like what he brought to the table. Just like other people had said, I thought he was more of a cheap Deadpool. And that's kind of the way he struck me, and that's kind of the way I took it for the rest of the film. I didn't mind the Wizard of Oz reference, and I didn't mind Cyclone. I thought she was great. I actually thought Cyclone was really good. And I
awesome.
Yeah, and I agree with Whitty saying that Hawkman was really the heart of the film, even though he barely got any offense in. He was sort of the spiritual guide of the entire film, along with Dr. Fate. And I did think Dr. Fate did a great job, and I wish Retmus was here because I'd love to hear his take on that. I'd love to hear Biff's take on it, for that matter. But
get him next time.
yeah, we'll have a part 2 or something like that.
We still yet to hear Retmus's thoughts on his RB5 Dr. Fate.
That's right. Well, so we'll have a whole Dr. Fate episode or something. But no, overall I really enjoyed it. I would say that, I agree that it's not a Rock movie, it's a DC movie, and that really helped it out. Because look, I love The Rock, but I'm burnt out on Rock movies. There's only so much you can take, right?
Right.
So I give this a solid B+. I thought it was a very, very entertaining movie. It was well worth my time to see, and I'll definitely watch it again. Not in the theaters, of course, but when it comes on streaming.
I think that the one thing it failed at, because I'm kind of an emotional movie watcher, like I cry at like almost every movie I go to these days. I don't know why. I'm just like
You're sentimental.
In my old age, I just
right.
cry at everything. Yeah, I'm very sentimental. This movie did not make me even like. It didn't even jerk a single tear. Like not a single tear. Like there was some moments with like his family back in Old Kahndaq that were like, okay, this is cute and sentimental. But there was never that like I rose to the occasion moment. There was never like that, because Black Adam was set up the entire movie as a complete badass. Like no one could beat him, and that was the whole point of the movie. Like they kept throwing new people at him over and over again, and they kept getting their asses beat every single fucking time. And even when Sabak showed up, like Sabak got a couple hits in, but it really didn't take long for that villain to go down. So there was never that occasion where you're just like, holy fuck, like this is his risen moment,
Yeah, I see, but I think part of that is the story wasn't about him rising to the moment against a foe. The story to me was more about him rising to the moment to live up to the sacrifice that his son made to save him. Because, his son essentially gives up his life to save his father, and then he's stuck with that guilt. And instead of like living up to his son's heroic image, he goes and exacts revenge on the king, and like, gets in prison because he used his powers for vengeance instead of justice and everything. So to me, the rising to the occasion in the movie, when he says Shazam and comes back to fight Sabak, it's about him rising to the image of his son as a heroic character and living up to that sacrifice, and that's what he's building up to. So it's not so much about like the adversity of a villain that defeats you at first and having coming back to beat them and having a threat of being defeated. It's about living up to that noble sacrifice that his child gave up for him. But I understand what you're saying. Like they kind of failed on the tearjerker moment they had there whenever the son took the arrow.
I think that was supposed to be that moment when he says the word and they're able to imprison him. that's the realization he has, that he's only bringing wreck to the whole world. And when he says Shazam, that's his realization, that's his sacrifice in a way.
Mhm.
It wasn't worth it by any means, because they screwed that up with that final act.
Yeah.
Yeah, they threw all
Yeah.
of that away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you see how they've built up the movie, I mean, he comes out of that of his prison, of his tomb or whatever, 5,000 years later. Everything and everyone he ever met is gone, and essentially he has to help out a kind of a surrogate family to survive. So it doesn't have a lot of motivations to play the hero or big tearjerker moments. It just has to be that badass guy who doesn't give a shit about everyone around him. So I think that's what he had to work with, and he did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
In the end, I think Kondak was his kind of anchor, because that's the only world he ever knew.
So let's talk about Kondak then for a second, because like in every iteration of Black Adam I've ever seen, he's always obsessed with ruling.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
And-
he always mentions Kondak.
And then he fucking destroyed the throne. He's like, this doesn't feel right. Boom, destroyed.
Mm.
Like,
Well, I
I'm not
think
going to be a
that's-
ruler. I'm going to
I
be a
think that's
protector.
well, they're setting him up as an anti-hero moving forward, because they're not going to use him as a full-blown villain like he has been used in the comics. I don't think. Like, he's going to be an anti-heroic character for his whole run in the DCEU, or when he turns villainous, it's going to be like his last appearance or something, because that's when he's going to get taken out in like a 3 movie with him, Superman, and Shazam, or something like that. So
That would be
hopefully.
awesome. That would be awesome.
There's one other thing I wanted to mention, and I'm sorry to get away from this topic a little bit, but speaking to Atom Smasher and Cyclone and the grievances against them, one thing you have to consider with the Justice Society is that a lot of that is about generational heroes and about the older generation training the new heroes to be able to take on the threats of today. So while, yes, Atom Smasher and Cyclone were very amateurish heroes, and that, yes, they absolutely were the interns, that's very much in the spirit of what the Justice Society kind of has always been. I think maybe if the movie had a bigger budget, they might have tried to get some more main cast Justice Society people in there, but I think that the idea was to work with a smaller team of 4, and that's just like the way the dice crumbled. They had the 2, people training the 2 younger heroes, and that's why I think that was cast that way. And why those characters are that way in the movie. But I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I get it, because I mean, Hawkman and Dr. Fate took a great portion of importance in terms of the characters we have. I mean, if you have another character that was equally relevant, you have to give enough screen time to all of them to shine, and you didn't need to do that with those 2. I absolutely get that. And speaking about it again, I will say that Cyclone felt like she could be important to the team. Team, I think Atom Smasher didn't, and he wasn't funny. They wrote him. They tried to make him funny, but it wasn't. He was a cheap knockoff of Tom Holland, which for me is not funny at all. And they just got the same thing as a cheap knockoff, and for me it didn't sit well. When they go into the temple to talk to Black Adam and he shows up with a bucket of wings, I mean,
yeah,
that was ridiculous.
Yeah, you don't have the words to say. You just just let me pick up some wings and see how it goes. I mean, no professionalism there. At least Cyclone could act the part. She was always the first to jump out of the ship. He was just a stupid kid mumbling around. So it didn't add enough to the
I
movie.
agree that the character was written a little bit poorly, but I understand why they included Atom Smashers, because of his connections to Black Adam in the comic, which could come up later in a sequel or something like that too. So,
and he managed to take a punch once.
Yeah,
That's all he did.
Yeah.
That's all he did.
Well, did he really even take the punch? Because he got knocked out.
Yeah, but that's all he did.
Yeah. No, I agree. He was written poorly in the movie, I think, and they were trying to make him the comic relief, like everyone has said, the Deadpool-esque character and everything along those lines. But I think the reason they picked him, at least, and why it was important to include him, is his potential future relevance in the sequel.
I hope he doesn't make it to the sequel. To be honest.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
I'm
We'll see.
being honest here. I'm being honest. I don't want to beat up the dead horse, but that guy had no influence in the outcome of the movie whatsoever. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping he doesn't get to see the light of day again.
Yeah, he's a wet rag.
Fair enough.
You're so mean.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, if they wanted comic relief, at least do it smart, like they did with Fate. He was super
Yeah.
funny. I mean, when Hawkman is going
sarcasm
at it
bits.
with Black Adam back and forth, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna sit this one out," and he's sitting in a chair like super chill while they're going at it. That was super fun. That was
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
genuinely
right. That was
funny.
well executed.
It's not forced. You mean you know what I mean? It's not
Mhm.
forced. It's genuinely funny, and they didn't accomplish that with Adam Smasher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of
I
Adam
agree.
Smasher, I love the fact that Henry Winkler, aka the Fonz, was the original Adam Smasher. That just fucking cracked my up.
He's like, don't mess up my suit. It's vintage. Okay, one other thing though, because I feel like you're about to make us wrap up, AB. And I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
stop.
we're gonna come here to a wind up here in a minute.
Yeah. Who else loved the gunslinger scene? Whenever he has like the old
Oh.
West style pause,
Oh,
and they do
yeah.
like the stare down.
It was
I-
definitely an homage to the what's it called, Indiana Jones.
Yeah, or just whatever. He was just watching on the TV.
Those
when
old
he came out and
westerns,
shot it.
yeah.
It was just that was the homage to like the Western style showdown and like standoff. I loved it. Even
And
though
that
it
was
a big
actually
movie.
funny as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, that was a
Yeah.
funny bit. That's the kind of humor I want to see in a movie.
The funniest part with that Black Adam got was every time Hawk Guy or Hawk Man was always like,
Guy.
killing people.
he was always like, yeah, quit killing people. And he's like, okay. And then he just zaps people literally right in front of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was never as brutal as like The Boys is.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just like lightning effects, and they just fell over. I'm like, okay, that's great.
it's mostly
Um,
tasteful violence.
It was tasteful murder, yes.
Yeah.
Classy. All right. Well, I tell you guys what, this has been a great review. Are we done with the review, by the way? I just want to make sure we don't have any last minute thoughts before we go on to our final word. No?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Okay.
we wrapped this one pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I'm done interrupting.
All right. No, you're all good. Let's take it around the horn and get everyone's last word, and we'll start with you, Sekju.
I guess last word. There's no Retmus here to give a good message of will to everybody.
I know, right? We're flying
And
blind.
I know Tootie's going to help us with some new goals, so I'm not really sure what to talk about.
Whatever's on your mind.
I always enjoy my time here on Sundays with you all, and it was a pleasure speaking with everybody today and getting to hear your thoughts and feelings on Black Adam. I feel like it's a good movie. I'm hopeful about. I think Shazam is coming next.
Yeah.
I think that's the next DC movie coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
saw the trailer.
the trailer was attached to Black
Yes,
Adam
it
at least
was.
for that, and it looked awesome. So I'm hopeful about the DC universe moving forward. I think that they're taking some positive steps after I was initially worried that some of the changes with Warner Discovery were headed down like a negative path. I'm hopeful after at least seeing this and seeing some of the plans moving forward that we might get to see a fun DC extended universe future. So, but
Yeah.
thank you guys, and I really appreciate your opinions on everything.
Well, thanks, Sekju. Appreciate it, buddy. 2D-tron. Give us your last word, pal.
All right, so goal for this month. It's almost the end of October, right? So here we go. We are going to have an amazing Halloween, okay? If you want to be slutty, go fucking be slutty. Go suck a dick in the back of an alley with a Twix in your right hand because you just got done trick-or-treating, okay?
Just like my
Like-
Friday night, right, AB?
That's right.
Exactly. I personally will be out in a Dr. Frankenstein costume handing out prescription notices for blowjobs and shots of alcohol. So if you see me in downtown Deadwood, South Dakota, you ask me for a prescription, okay? And we'll get you taken care of. But yes, other than that, just enjoy the fucking month because it's about to be holiday season, bitches. And I'm so excited. And I hope you
Yeah.
are too.
I
You
am.
need to share some pictures.
I've got my
Oh.
kinky boots all set up. They're like knee high and they've got the platform elevator. It's going to give me another
Nice.
3 inches, which is what everyone has told me I needed. So
Oh, man. That's brutal today.
Brutal.
yes.
Oh, boy. Well, thanks for being on the show, buddy. We appreciate it. Witty Amazon, you get the bottom line.
Yeah, my last word's gonna go to every DC fan out there that's listening to us, that's still listening to us, hopefully. That if you should go and support the DC and support the movie. I think they did a pretty good job with this one. And if you want to get nice things, we should tell them that we appreciate what the effort they've put out in this one, and it was a significantly improved from the latest movies we've got. So it means they obviously doing something right, and let's show them our support so they can keep giving us good things, hopefully. And like Sarge said, I think Shazam will be a great movie to follow. I'm definitely gonna watch that one in the movies as well, and let's all stick it up for them. I think it's time to make a change.
Damn right. I couldn't agree anymore, because we're tired of fucking Marvel. That's what I gotta say.
Oh yeah.
Tired of that shit. Tired of that shit. That shit out of here.
We want our Hawkman movie. We want our Doctor Fate movie. So we need to to tell them what we want.
Oh, Hawkman, absolutely. I didn't get to say it enough to agree with Woody, but Hawkman.
Oh yeah.
Hawkman was the shit.
Yeah. He was.
He's so hot.
I liked him for different reasons.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. And we want to thank all of you for taking the time to be with us today. Get on our website, atlantisafterdark.com. Grab some cool swag from the merch store, or get on Discord and talk directly with us, and then hit that subscribe button because you know you want to. For Secju, for Tootytron, for Witty Amazon, we'll see you all right here next time for another fantabulous episode of Double AD. So long, everybody.